Hello, everybody. Welcome to VC Masters on the Pod TV network. I'm Nick Pelavita. I'll be your host for today, along with Dr. Salman Azar. And today we have a very special guest. He's coming in from Kyiv, Ukraine, who's an entrepreneur out in Kyiv. He's also, you'll see him on our show called Ukraine, Russia, and China. But first of all, we're going to bring in Dr. Salman Azar, who's a professor at Duke University in Durham. Dr. Azar, welcome to the VC Masters show. And we've got a very exciting guest for you. You probably don't get these too often. Somebody from Kyiv, Ukraine. Are you familiar with that area of the world by chance? Your microphone. Cannot hear. You got to talk.
Yeah. I remember Kyiv from growing up. There was a nuclear reaction that took place that destroyed a number of things. Is that the same Kyiv that I hear?
Well, it's a country that it's basically the capital of a country that Russia decided they wanted to have something to do with it. And apparently the Ukrainians aren't really in favor of that, but they have a very robust startup community over there. When I was at a CS conference, they were one of the few people that showed up, and they actually there were startups that showed up, and they had drones. They actually had a lot of drone technology, and I think they're using it today. But better to have the person from Ukraine, from Kyiv, discuss that than me. So we're going to bring in Ivan Krushenko. Ivan, welcome to VC Masters with Professor Salman Azar at Duke University. And tell us a little bit about who you are. We know where you're from, but what you guys do over there.
Hello, Nick. Hello, Salman. Hello to everyone. Glad to be here to do today with you. Yeah, I'm from Kyiv, actually, the capital of Ukraine, the city which Russia planned to capture during the first 3 days of their invasion, and it's more than 3 years of this war, and Kyiv is still holding with the major part of Ukraine. Hopefully, Russians unsuccessful in their attempts, they still can't capture the parts of those regions they've annexed and put in their constitution. And thanks to the support from the Western countries, from the United States, of course, we are holding, and hopefully we'll hold further. And in Kyiv, I'm an active part of Ukrainian community, startup community, IT community. So I really know a lot of great Ukrainian startups and entrepreneurs. Like probably you've heard about PetCube, one of the most known Ukrainian startups, which produce pet cameras. Actually, my colleagues from a previous company where I worked in founded that startup several years ago. And a lot of companies which are now just starting their businesses, especially in drones area, in defense tech. It's the industry that emerged in Ukraine actually after the full-scale invasion started, and I think that Ukraine is top behind most countries in this area and this field, because we have a great opportunity to test our drones on the battlefield, actually, to see immediate results and to improve them. So it's a great new big great area of business appearing.
Well, lovely. Great to have you here, Ivan. I want to first, before we get into like all the startup community and the investment stuff, I'm curious about how you feel in terms of safety and everything of yourself and your friends and family, because that's like a paramount concern, at least for people that are not, supporting Ukraine, but we are not there, and we can't feel what you're feeling.
Actually, difficult question, because of course here in Kiev we are safer then people who live closer to the battlefield were safer than Ukrainian soldiers, which are defending our, I think, quite a peaceful life actually here in Kiev. Because if you come to Kiev, you will see that a lot of all businesses are working. A lot of people on the streets, cafes, restaurants, shopping malls, they're all open, and people just live their regular life, and nothing seems like there is a war in the country, except of a lot of people wearing military uniforms. You see people in military uniforms. You sometimes see some military vehicles on the streets, like cars, and unfortunately, sometimes you see the emergency vehicles, which goes, and but it all changes at night, because almost every night we have an alarm which announce the upcoming of Russian drones, of probably some missile danger, and sometimes it's not just alarm, it's actually it's specific Russian strikes on the street, like the recent strike on Kiev, which killed 12 people, and more than 30 people were wounded after the strike, and it destroyed several residential buildings, and not only in Kiev but in other just peaceful in regular life during daytime cities like Kryvyi Rih, like Sumy, when Russian committed their another atrocity on the Palm Sunday, actually by killing a lot of people, including children, in Sumy. But so it's of course it's a little bit unsafe feeling, yeah, when you know that just on night you cannot wake up in the morning because a Russian drone will just attack your house, and you will be killed or you'll be wounded. But it's another for me. I can say about everyone here, but for me it's like another another way of die, like in a car accident, or some crazy terrorist shooting you in the street, or just some other way. Of course, it increase your chances to not to live the happy life, but from one point, from other point, it's not a way to live in like being frightened of that, and that's what Russia is actually they want to achieve, to terrorize Ukrainian people, to make them fear those Russian attacks, to stop life actually here in Ukraine, for Ukraine to become a failed state, what they're saying in their propaganda. And that's what Ukrainians are fighting for, civilian Ukrainians. I mean, we have our military heroes on the battlefield, and we have civilians who live their life, who work, who support military, who donate. We have a great volunteer movement here, volunteers that just not buy some kind of equipment for our soldiers, but Ukrainian volunteers now buy tanks, they buy drones, they buy everything, which unfortunately government is not able to provide in full demand, because the demands on the battlefield are much higher than the supply that government and even our partners can provide.
Yeah, no, I can't even imagine how it must feel to live under kind of constant threat like this. During this time, how is the startup community and the venture community thriving? Because I hear you mentioned like defense tech is kind of like really at the front and center, but I'm curious about what else is going on, and Ukraine has always had a thriving startup community and a thriving venture community, and how is that?
Yeah. Actually, defense tech is area of startup business which appeared during the war, and a lot of Ukrainian entrepreneurs which were previously in any other areas, they now started to actively invest in defense tech startup, because they understand the upcoming benefits of this area. Now the export of Ukrainian defense technologies and equipment is limited. It's not allowed for companies who produce like drones, or who produce some kind of military equipment, to export them abroad. Because they are needed in Ukraine, and it's a point of discussion where to allow that export or not. But it's a great future, because Ukrainian weapons there will be, I think they will become very popular, like Neptune missiles, which destroyed the Moskva cruiser, the flagship of the Russian Black Sea fleet, like sea drones, which destroyed actually the Ukrainian sea drones defeated Russian Black Sea fleet and made them leave occupied Crimea. They not have their fleet in Crimea, because it's in the distance of Ukrainian sea drones. But beside that, of course, we have a lot of other areas with great startups here. We have a great financial startup called Monobank. It's a neobank app. Probably in some way it's a competitor to Revolut platform, and it's very popular in Ukraine. They are also expanded to other countries by other brands, and it's a way which allows very quick and easy banking. Like any Ukrainian can quickly transfer money to any other person by just shaking their mobile phones, or putting the payment card, the credit or debit card number, and transferring money here. And it's also a platform which allow to gather donuts, gather money by volunteers for purchasing some special equipment for soldiers. It's which became very popular after the full-scale invasion. We've got great startups in agri-tech business, and it's actually where it came to defense tech, because in Ukraine is agricultural country, and we have a really great agriculture potential. And here, before the full-scale invasion, we had companies which produced drones for agricultural needs, like exploring the crop fields, like predicting weather, controlling the water of the crops, and all that stuff. And some of those companies, they've switched their agricultural technologies to the military side after the full-scale invasion, and started to produce not agricultural but military drones after that. And we've got a lot of software startups actually in Ukraine. I just can't recall all of them, but for instance, Ukrainian company MacPo is producing a Clean My Mac application, which is very popular worldwide, and it's one of the Apple partners. We've got a great gaming industry here, which also becoming a business. And probably you've heard about the Stalker game, the Stalker 2, which is really popular now. So different areas, different technologies, and a lot. The problem is that I'm not think that the majority of investors, but some part of global investors are very cautious about investing in Ukrainian startups because of the risks provided by that Russian invasion, because you have a team in Ukraine probably, and one day that team can be actually destroyed by some Russian rocket, or it can be blackout here in Ukraine. But Ukrainians are very innovative people, and we've invented how to fight the blackouts, and now every Ukrainian home is completely autonomy home. I'm here in my home. I've got a special battery system, which automatically switches to the battery in case I've got a problem with the grid, and it can supply my home with the electricity for like 10 or 12 hours, and then automatically recharge when the grid power is restored. And I've got a power generator also when in case the blackout can be more than 10 or 12 hours, and I will have to recharge, so I can use the generator. I've got not a Starlink, but optical connection. A lot of people here also have Starlink terminals, which allow to be always connected to the network, and Starlinks are used by Ukrainian soldiers on the battlefield actually to have a connection. So we're really it's not like I'm living in a country which is 3 years at war. I have power in my home, I have water, I have products in my fridge, and I can go sit in car and go shopping and buy everything. Of course, in the first days of invasion, it was a great shock for the country, and we had empty shelves in the shopping malls, and we had no gas on the gas stations. Actually, there were great lines to buy cars, and there were limits on how much of gas you can buy to put in your car per day. Because of that Russia, they've tried to destroy Ukrainian infrastructure to prevent Ukrainians from actually using cars because of gas problems. But they failed in that actually as well, and now there are no problems. I can drive my car, and a lot of Ukrainians, besides the problems with electricity, they are buying the electric cars actually, and they managed to recharge them even because of the problems, and because it's more efficient to use electric cars here as well.
So tell me how, you mentioned the investors, a lot of foreign investors are reluctant to invest in Ukraine. So where are these startups finding the investors, and who is actually investing at this time?
There are internal investors. We've got several pretty big funds, venture funds working in Ukraine. We've got also a government fund, startup fund, and they're especially investing in the defense tech startups. And not all global investors are afraid of investing in Ukraine. There are several, after even the full-scale invasion, there were several deals connected to Ukrainian startups. So for someone, it's a risk. For others, it's an opportunity, actually, because now some Ukrainian startups probably are underestimated because of the risks, and you can achieve if you're and it's a good part of a lot of venture investors to go on the risk and to invest in Ukrainian startups. So of course the situation is worse than it was before the full-scale invasion, but it's not critical actually. And another way of launching startups in Ukraine, it's bootstrapping. I know a lot of entrepreneurs who are just launching startups on their own money, actually on friends, family, and fools' money, and they start businesses because it's also a way to support a country in this tough period.
Got it. So, how in terms of valuations and in terms of the rounds in US, we have like usually a friends and family and or a seed round, and then we have like series A, B, C just being the order of things, and at each successive round, either the company has gone out of business by then, or they are de-risked and they are valued more. Is the same system applicable in Ukraine, or is it a different system? How does that work?
Yeah, sure. The same system, and we now have startups even now which are preparing for IPOs. There is a Ukrainian startup named Headway. It's a learning platform. Actually, I've seen a recent rating where it took the fourth place, I think, amongst all global startups in this category, and even the higher rank than Duolingo and then the Coursera. And this startup is preparing for IPO. I actually not for sure on what stage and what round they've raised before that, but their next plan is to launch IPO in 2027, and they're preparing for it right now. But in the rest, this workflow works for the Ukrainian startups as well.
So when you mentioned IPO, are they planning to IPO in Ukraine or US or somewhere else?
Globally, in US or in Europe, not Ukraine.
Okay. And what are the kind of, when they decide between US and Europe, what kind of factors do they consider?
It's a great question, but I'm not so much in their financial management. I think that the factors like the valuation, the maximum available valuation which they can raise on that IPO, I think it's the major factor. But also now we see the situation when euro increases towards the American dollar, and probably more Ukrainian and not only Ukrainian startups, they will think going more to European markets when the American markets are decreasing actually. So but I don't know what will be in 2 years when they will go to an IPO.
Definitely. So there's a lot of competition now among the US and several European markets where companies IPO, and sometimes they are, the as you said, the price that they are able to get. It's also the access to investors and who the investment banker is and how much they can raise even before they go IPO in terms of commitment from their clients and so on. So coming back to the different stages of startups, you mentioned the war impacting foreign investors. How much has that impacted the valuations? Would you know that?
Not any clear data that I can share with you, but I think it's just more frozen the investments than then impacted on the valuation of startups because the founders of startups they understand the value of their business, and I didn't heard of any Ukrainian startups to be so in great need of money that they've decided to raise funds with a lower valuation because I think the majority of you, not majority, but a great part of Ukrainian startups they use the later stages of investing for scaling, and I think it's better to postpone scaling probably for some period of time to cut costs. And of course, cost cutting, it was that Ukrainians companies actually implemented after the full scale invasion. The salaries were frozen. They were frozen in Ukrainian currency, in Ukrainian hryvnias, and the exchange rate of Ukrainian hryvnias to US dollars actually it increased several times. Like before the full-scale invasion, we've got an exchange rate of 25 Ukrainian hryvnias per one US dollar, and now it's like 42 Ukrainian hryvnias per one US dollar, and but in hryvnias the salaries they remained the same, so it was just also a way to optimize the expenses for companies who sell their goods or services like worldwide and receive the income in American dollars or in euros, and they have a local team here in Ukraine which they are paying in Ukrainian hryvnias, and hopefully we had not a great increase of for energy services, for like energy resources. They remained on the level before the invasion, and we also, thanks to the European Union, thanks to United States, we had also some special tariff discounts on Ukrainian goods and services, which they implemented after the full-scale invasion started, to support Ukrainian companies and Ukrainian economy, Ukrainian business, and to get them new markets in Europe, and it's also helped them. So as at the result, it's a rather turn to delay in scaling of startups. A lot of companies they've postponed their scaling plans, but not in lowering the valuation of them like greatly.
Interesting. So I deal with a lot of secondary markets. So in US also, because the IPO market has been delayed, which is a similar impact to what you are saying, is that the funding being delayed. There are a lot of companies where the early investors are selling their shares at a discount. And that kind of system kind of works in Ukraine as well, especially if there are investors that want to pull out. So this doesn't impact the company itself, because it is a transaction between an early investor and a late investor in the same company. Is that something that happens in Ukraine, where investors are selling their shares directly to other investors?
Yeah, sure. It happens, and investors and some Ukrainian funds are expanding in that case when they come and just buy shares of investors on the earlier stage. So it's a normal process here as well.
Okay, wonderful. Anything else you would like to share with our audience?
Maybe if you have any more questions, I will gladly answer on of them. And I just want to say that despite the Russian propaganda and which targets to show that Ukraine is almost destroyed country, it's like and even sometimes they're successful in spreading their narratives. Even Donald Trump is believing that Ukraine is a completely destroyed country with nothing working, and which lives only thanks to money from United States or from Europe. It's not so much truth, because the life in Ukraine continues. Business here is working, people are working as well, and a lot of new startups appears, especially in defense tech. It's a really next big thing for not for Ukraine also, because unfortunately the Russian invasion showed that no country can be safe now.
Exactly.
The international institutions are not working. Now we are expecting a war, next war to come between India and Pakistan probably, or something to be on the Middle East, and it's unfortunately it's a new world when countries will become more and more militarized, when countries will
well, Nick is here. I think we are running out of time, so
yeah.
But
I just wanted to say that you can invest in Ukraine. You can take these risks.
Ukraine is open for business, and I can't wait to go over there. But we want to thank Ivan Krushenko from Kyiv, Ukraine, and also Dr. Salman Azar from Duke University in Durham, North Carolina, and our viewers, not just in the United States, but our 2.3 million viewers around the world for watching VC Masters on the Pod TV network. And we'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.
I go anywhere with you, 'cause you fill my mind, oh, you fill my mind. We could build a dream, start up something new, and the world is on your shoulders, and you feel like falling over. Just let me